We're going to try real hard to stay on task because my brain cells have been absolutely depleted. So we're going to get right into it. What you are going to listen to and experience today is the Neurodivergent Convergence podcast. I am one of your hosts, Nikki, and this is Amanda. Say hello, Amanda.
Hello, Amanda.
Yay!
It's
and
back. The terrible joke is back.
and assuming we have listeners left after last week, hello to
Mhm.
everyone who is returning. If this is your first time, you've missed much. You have a lot to go listen to, including last week's episode, which may have possibly gotten us canceled. We don't know yet. So we'll have those results
Mhm.
within the next
We'll
few weeks,
see.
I would assume.
Mhm.
Yeah. So this is a podcast about neurodivergent shit because we are two neurodivergent women navigating the neuroverse together,
Mhm.
and we are best friends. This is somewhat out of order that I normally say this, but it's fine. We're best friends. There you go. I found it. Two neurodivergent best friends navigating the neuroverse together. This is just us talking about our experience with neurodivergent shit.
And
And
two neurodivergent girls living in a neurotypical world. How
yes,
about
that's
that?
right. We are living in a neurotypical world, and we are not neurotypical girls. There we go. I haven't
Mhm.
done that one in a while, have I?
No,
No. Okay. That's great. Thank you for helping me.
you're
Because
welcome.
I cannot help myself today. I really cannot. If you're watching this shit show, I am unmakeuped again. This is a no makeup episode for me again. And this is yawn number one, bitch. This is gonna be a fun fucking episode. Um, we're gonna get into why, but we're gonna have a little conversation about what my life has been like for the last 365 days that have all been crammed into one single week. Uh, my 365-day long week. We're going to talk about it and what I have learned about myself this week as an autistic person, and how many times my tism was, for lack of a better word, well, we won't say triggered because that's really a bad word to describe it. Not a bad word, but a bad word to describe what was going on. The ways my tism was activated. The
Mhm.
Wonder-tism powers were activated.
That's exactly what I thought of. Wonder powers activate. Autism activated.
The Wonder-tism power is activated.
Form of crippling anxiety.
Yeah. I love it. Form of this fucking makes no sense. Um, yeah, so we're going to talk about what this week has taught me about myself, things that have been pointed out to me, bits of my autism that have shown up and showed the fuck out this week during this experience that I have had. So before we do that, because I'm going to be talking quite a bit this episode, I would like to catch up with Aminder because, like we said, it's been it's been 864 years. Yes. Since we have spoken. So, Aminder, what has life been like for you since I have basically poofed off the face of the fucking earth for the last 900 years? It keeps growing every time I say it.
Yep. Just gonna get on to eternity.
Yep.
Um,
Talk to me.
so I mean, my work hasn't been as busy. We did start doing what is called vendor management, where basically we have a list of vendors at work and like 280 of them, which is way too many. And we basically have to go through and talk to each of the VPs of each department and be like, okay, which vendors, like which one of these are critical? Which one of these do we not use? Or which one of these, like blah blah, can any of these be combined? Like say like a couple of them were one person or one company bought out the other company so we can
Right.
combine them, that stuff, that's that sort of thing. And so basically I have to go through and read the contracts of each of these, or like the service agreements of each of these things that are all in these different folders, and I have to upload them. I have to make them look nice. I have to basically import the information from the contract up into the program. So, and luckily I have until like the end of February. Originally I thought I had until the end of January, and I'm like, I asked my boss, I'm like, I have 2 weeks, 2 weeks to do this.
No,
And she's
ma'am.
And she's like, no, you have until the end of February. I'm like, okay, thank God, because I've only done the IT VPs vendors, which were about 40 of them, and I'm only halfway through. So I've done 20
Oof.
out of 280. And
Oof.
granted, I did that in like 2 days, so it's like I'm getting to like about 10 to 20 a day. Just depending on like there's like one vendor that has like 15 to 20 different, not necessarily contracts, but addendums, stuff like that, and other things that I'll have to be like look through and upload, and I'm making it all look pretty. Like my autism and stuff, it's like my autism and my ADHD are coming together because it's like I'm hyper focusing on it to where I'm forgetting to drink water,
Oh
and then
no.
6 hours later I'm like, God, I'm thirsty. It's like I get a break, I'll be like, ah, yes, and I'm like, man, I really have to pee. And then but then it's like I want everything to look nice, and I asked my boss to come in and be like, hey, can you look at this? And then like when I was trying to explain something, I'm like, I just don't know what to do. Like, what are because we're getting audited at the end of February. That's
Oh,
why there's a deadline. And so I was like, what exactly are they looking for? Because it's like if I know how much effort I have to put into each one, I know like basically what is expected of me. Like, does everything have to
right.
look? Are they just wanting to see that the contracts are on file or whatever?
Right.
Um, and it just generally looks like we know what we're doing. Like, is everything? Does all the vendors have to be described and like all the like what exactly all they do or why we put the risk rating that we did because we have to rate them based on risk to the credit union. Um,
Right.
and like from 0 to 100, well, 5 to 100. But and then and she was like, explain to me, and I could like my brain like in okay, so my brain was like, oh no, she's getting annoyed with my questions, and then or I'm seeming like a spaz basically,
Mhm.
and so I started like crying. I started like getting that where you get that throat catch.
Yes.
And when I was like, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be obnoxious. I just need to know, like, because I went to a conference for this, like a pre-conference for this, like 2 days. Got a certification back in September for this, and now it's like it's 4 months later, and I'm just making sure that I'm doing this correctly. And because I was just like given like here's this program, basically a list of vendors. Now sort it out it's
Right.
like
Right.
because it hadn't been really touched. Like the VPs would like add their own vendors, add their own projects, whatever. So basically, I'm just kind of like going through and cleaning it up.
Right.
But it's like I never had to. Like I told her, I'm like I don't know how to read contracts. Like I don't like I can like when it says like something like a term. I basically have to look at the term part of the contract to make sure like okay, is this like an auto renewal thing? Is this an annual thing? Is this an option to renew? Is it an opt out thing? And but sometimes these terms are in such legalese. I'm like, I don't know what
Right.
the fuck they're saying on this.
Right.
Like,
Right.
so I just have to make sure that I'm doing it correctly. And so I was really worried about that. So that's been my week. So
I'm sorry.
yeah. No, I mean it's like I said, it's not I still like I'm not having to work as much as you, but it is like just a lot of like using
Yeah,
my
well,
brain and
it's
so
new, and it's
mhm.
new on top of that, and you want, and it's important, and it has to be done a certain way, and so you're trying to make sure that like you need, or you have all of the information that you need to complete this job that they're asking you to complete in the way that they're expecting it to be completed. So instead of
Mhm.
just assuming or reading between the lines, you're double checking, which for most employers, right, is like, thank you for doing such, right? Like you want, I would want, as an employer, I would want someone to ask me a million questions so that it's done correctly, as opposed to assuming they know what they're
Just
doing and then me
assuming.
having to fix it later. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
but apparently that's not like how most people think and act in the world. Sorry, I gotta move this pillow. I just launched it. Goodbye. Um, anyway, so I could understand, but it sounds like your boss is probably pretty similar. You've mentioned before that you're pretty sure she's neurodivergent, so I'm sure she was appreciative that you didn't just like half-ass the situation. And even though there
Yeah,
was a lot of questions, you
yeah, she
know,
always tells me she's like, I'd rather you ask me to make sure than just assume. Like, she's like, I'm glad you're able to work by yourself and like go off on your own. She's like, but I appreciate that you ask me questions and everything. So, I'm like,
yeah,
I told her I'm like, I just always want to make sure I'm doing something before I do it. Like, I'm doing something
for
right
sure.
before I do it. So, Yeah. But so she's pretty understanding. I can't really complain about how that aspect is. It's just it was more of like a me thing. It's like I just want to do this right and I don't want to mess up because I don't want to get audited and I don't want to like get a bad rating or whatever auditors do.
Right.
Sorry to all the auditors out there, but you kind of suck. Just want to point that out.
Probably have the worst job. It's like,
Hmm.
I'm sure your job is very important, but you really make all of us want to double over and hide in fear. Like,
Hmm.
I don't know what that noise was behind me, but that was very loud. I'm assuming one of my children's is in the bathroom. Um, anyway, sorry, that was very distracting. I'm unmedicated, full disclosure. The
I am
pharmacy was
too
out of my
today.
meds again. So
I am too today.
yeah, if they're finally ready, so I'm picking them up tomorrow. But it's been two
Good luck.
days.
It's -3 degrees. Good luck.
I know. Yeah, that's another thing. We are Amanda and I are from the good old Midwest, and for whatever reason, it's been colder than the North. The
Hmm.
last couple of winters, my dad received less snow and less negative temperatures in fucking New Hampshire than we did here last year. And it is currently, let me, for accuracy, I shall tell you the exact degrees. But when I was driving home from my massage earlier, it was -2 degrees outside. So not only were there no degrees, it was negative degrees. And currently, there is no temperature. It is exactly 0 degrees. So, yes, there currently is
So,
no temperature.
and I bring that up because you might hear my heat come on. Usually, before we start recording, I turn my heat up.
Yes, because it's for
And
whatever
then,
reason, it's very fucking loud when it kicks on
yeah,
in your house.
yeah, I don't know how to make it quieter. I tried adding
It's,
filters, all that. It doesn't matter.
I mean, I
But
don't think it
so you
matters. I
might
think
hear
it's
it.
just your furnace.
Yeah, so I turn it off, I turn it up, and then I'd either turn it off or I turn it down. Today I turn it down because it's like I can't turn it off because maybe by the time we're done, we have to it'll might be 50 degrees in my house. I don't know, but I have an
Yeah, I
electric
know.
blanket on. I turned it up and I turned it down, and so if you hear it kick on because it finally caught up because it is 3 degrees here.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry if you hear my heat kick on. I can't really do much about it. It's my house. So,
Yeah, girl, it's fine. I mean, if they've listened to us before, they know what to expect here. This is a shit show.
mhm,
We're just walking our way through this life at one shit show mess at a time. And if the
mhm.
heater's part of that. So it's not a big deal. Um, before we commence into my crazy ass week, I'm going to save my catch up for topic because topic is relevant to my catch up. Let's roll into our Mad Lib, ma'am. Let's give the people
Okay.
what they really come here for, which is the fun and the fuckery. Um, so let's
Not
do
us not us bitching about our lives, you know?
not us bitching about our lives. Although this one is not so much a don't cancel us because we like a certain thing episode. It is a actual tism related episode. So we
Mhm.
actually have an actual topic to talk about. It just happens to coincide with my personal experience this week. But let's talk about our Pokemon Mad Lib, ma'am. I don't know why I'm getting my pen out. I sure don't need it. Um, let's do let's do this. What do we got today, Aminder? Talk to me.
I I need a verb.
You need a verb, do
Hmm.
you? You need
Yes, I
several
do.
fucking verbs. Thanks for
Yeah,
that.
you're welcome.
But by the way, because I don't know why those are the worst ones for me to think of. Verbs are the fucking worst ones for me to think of. And there's 3,473 of them in here. So
The number just keeps
I'll just
going
give you
up.
the first one. You're like, just fucking give me one and shut up and give it to me. It's entice. Entice is the verb. As I sip my caffeine free Diet Pepsi that has saved my fucking life.
Adjective.
Vivacious.
Ooh.
So
Plural noun.
this one I was stuck on, and I asked Nicholas for help. The word he gave me was peaches.
Peaches, peaches, peaches,
Yes,
peaches,
that's exactly why
peaches.
he gave me that word.
I'm a child. When just side tangent. When I saw that movie in theater, like there was probably two children in the entire theater. This theater had
Uh-huh.
like maybe like 40 to 50 people, and they were all my age, and it was great. Like
Yes.
we're
Move
all
over, children.
collectively,
This is for the
yes.
millennials.
This is for the Zennials and the Millennials. Like go away. This is our time. Um, verb.
Regress. I'm going to burp soon. So if you see me cover my mouth, I apologize.
Verb.
Obfuscate.
Obfuscate.
Obfuscate. I don't know how you spell it. It means to lie. It's a
Is it
fancy way to say
OBFU?
I'm lying.
I think it's obfuscate because I actually watched someone who's a PokeTuber is what they call themselves. PokeTuber is a YouTuber that plays Pokemon, and he was had to read the word obfuscate, and he had such trouble with it. He goes, "I feel so dumb right now. I can't read the word." He's like obfuscate, obfuscate, He's like that the OBF
Yeah,
combination, man. It's
I've
really fucking me
only
up.
heard it said obfuscate, so I would have no idea how it's spelled. I've never seen it spelled. Only said.
I'm obtuse. I'm gonna see if this is. No, that's not the word I'm thinking of. So, yeah, obfuscate is render obscure, unclear, or unintelligible. So I don't know what the word you're thinking of is. Um, I'm just gonna use obfuscate because I don't know what obfuscate is. Uh, Adverb.
Mm, perfectly. That's what I chose. No, Jordan chose that. Sorry. Jordan chose that.
Um, Verb ending in ing.
I chose this. Fucking. Because it's
Fucking.
got to go in everyone that has an ing. It just does.
Mm-hmm. Another verb.
Compel.
Verb.
Flim flam.
Blam blam. Blam blam. Thank you, ma'am. Okay. Noun.
The next two were also chosen by my child. Uh, he first gave me Bowser, and I said no. Try again. Then he came up with Punicorn.
Unicorn. Place.
The Void.
Verb.
Yeet.
Adverb.
Accordingly. Ooh, my ear. This ear thing will not stay in this left ear today. I'm not sure what's going on. Okay.
Last one. Adjective.
Obtuse.
Obtuse. Green goose. Obtuse. Okay. So this one still in the Pokemon Mad Libs. All about Pokemon gyms. A gym is a place where trainers entice their Pokemon in order to get them vivacious and gain peaches. Just like a regular gym, the more you regress at a gym, the stronger your Pokemon will get. Trainers can obfuscate their own skills there too. If you want to be a gym leader, you need to be perfectly skillful at battling with Pokemon, or at least fucking compel 8 badges, and you can enter a league conference. It's the only way to flimflam the respect and punicorn of other trainers.
Oh my god.
But know this, there's only one The Void in each city, so you may have to yeet far and accordingly to win enough Pokemon badges, or enough gym badges. But it's the only way for a trainer to become more obtuse. The
I mean, it was
end.
cute, but it wasn't great. I mean,
Mhm.
I did like
It's mid.
it's mid. It's mid. Well, yes, let's practice our what is it called? What are they called?
Gen C slang?
Yeah, that. See, I can't even remember. I'm so boomer. I can't even remember what the fuck it's called. Okay, yeah, let's practice our Gen Z slang so that we don't look so much like a boomer. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh shit, I forgot to hold on. Forgot to light.
Candle. Is it one of the candles I got you?
It is. I used the tea light last time, so that's
You should
no
show the people.
longer. Yes, I should. Hold. I don't want to take my camera down. Hold on. I would just take picture. Well, I'll just take my camera down. Ready for this
I
fucking
thought you were just
mess
gonna
you're
lift
about
it.
to see?
I thought you were just gonna lift the candle in front of the camera.
I can't because of the angle. Hold, please. Don't look at my room. It's messy. And my Pepsi can. Look, it's
The purple one?
it's yeah, the whatever the one that had lavender on it.
Yeah, the smoked lavender purple one.
Yeah, and then that's my little crystal set that I got going on next to it. This is my witchy shit, people. Welcome to the witchy part of this show. That's my little candle spell area, my little good intentions shit. I have all of my rocks and my money, my little dollar bill that represents the million we're trying to hit. Not, I mean, I'm not going to say we don't want the dollar bills. We do want the dollar bills. Hold, please, let me turn you back around here and stick you back up here. God, my room is so messy. Y'all just got a sneak peek if you're watching that shit. We have returned. Hi, hello. Um, um. Anyway, uh, yeah. So I took a dollar bill and I wrote in permanent marker, um, uh, the number 1 million on it, and that is sitting under um my crystals and things, all green, of course, because it represents money and wealth and all that stuff. Not that I wouldn't love to make $1 million off the show, but more so, it represents both like monetary value and reach. So, like, I want to reach 1 million people at some point. I think that would be amazing. So, if we keep getting ourselves canceled, that's never going to happen. But
Yeah, we're barely off the ground and we got, getting ourselves canceled.
yeah, and our birthday candle style candles are green and purple to represent the colors we chose for our hearts for the show. So, when we very first did it, we
Also, I
very
just realized
first
that's the two colors of the candles I got you was green and purple.
it was. And the candles, like the fun fancy candles and my ritual candles, the ones that I had like the orb, holding the crystal ball, the hands holding the crystal ball, you can find those on fifthcovencandle.com. They are handmade by the most gorgeous witchy woman you will ever meet. She's amazing. We love her very much. Uh, we're going to get her on the show at some point, to talk about her candles and her business and all that stuff because I just want to boost her to the moon. So go check Fifth Coven Candle out. And I'll drop like all the Instagram handle and everything. And I'll put the link to the website in the show notes because they are the most beautiful smelling things. They are the most beautiful looking things. And if you go to my Instagram, you can see several of the candles I've already I cannot speak, purchased from her. And this is not an ad. I just fucking love her. So, if you need some really fucking cool candles, they don't even have to be witchy, but if bonus, if you like witchy stuff, they're just really fucking good smelling. This woman has a knack for scent profiles that I have never experienced before. Like, she even created like little perfume roll-ons and I purchased them, and it is literally the best scent profile I have ever experienced. And I worked at perfume counters for years, this. And I've smelled luxury perfumes before, and even the most expensive perfumes that I have ever worked with and had the experience to wear do not last as long as this shit does. And you're going to pay, a fourth of the price for this that you would, a fucking Chanel fragrance or some shit. You know what I mean? And it's better and it's healthier because she uses natural things. So anyway, that's my Fifth Coven candle plug. Just because I love her. And it's, again, not sponsored. She's just amazing. But anyway, I digress. That was a long tangent, but I just love her. Anyway, moving on. What were we going to do? We did our Mad Lib. It's time for me to talk about things, is it not?
Mm-hmm. Sure
Okay,
is.
cool. I got distracted by candles. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm a little bit of a pyro, I think, too. Not in the sense that I like to start fires and burn things down, but that I love to watch candle flames and I like to watch fire. I don't like to set fires. I like to watch them.
Well, I
So
can
like
if you have like a bonfire, like I can like sit and like watch the bonfire for like hours and not
hours.
speak, not talk, like not talk to anybody. I can just sit there and watch for
Mhm.
hours. I think it's a
It's
mesmerizing thing.
Yeah, and I believe it's probably terrible for your eyesight to stare at a flame like that for a very long time, but I don't care. I just don't care. And I get very distracted by them. So if you see me looking off to the side a lot, that's what I'm doing. I'm staring at my candle. Anyway, I need to talk about my life, and okay, let's just start this because you're already losing me. So the reason why I am so extra done um with life right now is because we finally moved our store. I think I mentioned this last week, I believe, or the week before. It was the week before because that was when we recorded both of our episodes. God damn it. This is yawn 3. You were talking when I did the first two, so I didn't want to announce it. So I just gave myself a little visual so I knew like what we were doing. So yawn 3, correct number of fingers that time. Usually I'll put up 4. But anyway, I'm tired because where I work, my day job moved locations. And while we were so fucking ready for this to happen, I'm taking this one out because it's just ridiculous. It's bothering me. We were ready for that to happen. It still is very exhausting. So like this process involves a lot of planning and pre-planning and more pre-planning, but it's one of those things where it's like no matter how much you pre-plan, the plan's going to have to constantly change, and the bar is always moving for like what's necessary to be done now, and like this was the plan but now we have to change the plan. And so why I wanted to talk about this apart from being exhausted is because I found out so much about myself and just how prevalent my autism actually is during this experience because of the extensive amount of change that has occurred and the lack of communication, the lack of pre-planning on the corporate side, things that were let go that I didn't think needed to be let go, things that were harped on that didn't need to be harped on, decisions that were made that made no sense. So like there was just a lot of things that like activated the tism part of my brain, and I learned a lot about myself. So let's just start with a little timeline description of what's going on here. I started this process, I believe we started January 1st because we were told you're not allowed to do anything with this store until the end of December, which is fine. So I'm going to pull up my calendar just to check because I've kept extensive record of everything going on. Yeah, so the week of January 1st, I can't exactly remember which day, but the week of January 1st is when we started sort of the preliminary things, like packing up the extraneous shit in the store that we don't use all the time. All my beauty guru stuff got packed up, all of like the extra shit everywhere. So we started doing all this organization and packing at the current store. And then we went from that to slowly being able to start going over to the new store and setting up the they're called extrusions, but they're the little plastic flip things that are on the fronts of the shelving so you can see where the price, like what prices are. So we were putting extrusions on, we were putting all the marketing in the extrusions, setting up where the store was, how the store was going to be laid out essentially. So we started the layout of the store and the marketing side of it.
So did your manager plan how the store's going to be laid out, or did corporate?
No, so the store map is 90% corporate, 10% us. So corporate starts it and says this is where we want everything, and then we have an opportunity to chime in and say no or yes to things, but that doesn't necessarily mean we're going to get our way. But they offer us time to have an opinion, but it doesn't necessarily mean they're going to heed our opinion, if that makes any sense. So that's a lot of where the frustration came from, and I'll get into why. So the map they gave us, there was a few things on the store map that her and I, they were just viscerally fucking bothering us. One of them being that there was a major brand that we sell a ton of that the business itself doesn't necessarily sell a ton of. So they assumed that we didn't need the same amount of space everybody, or that we needed the same amount of space everybody else gets for that brand because they don't do as well overall as a company with that specific brand. However, our market in our specific store for that brand is probably within the top 20 in the nation for that brand alone. So we need an extensive space, and it needs to have a highlighted space. It doesn't need to be shoved on a shelf where no one can see it. And they were planoing that in a space it didn't make sense to be planoed for. And we were fighting and fighting and fighting with them to get us to let us move this, because the brand that we wanted them to swap it for had no marketing, had no swatches, had nothing. It would have been highlighted on a wall surrounded by beautiful, colorful brands that had all this beautiful marketing. And then there would have been one in the middle of this wall that had nothing. We had no tabs. No one would be able to see what the colors were. No one would be able to see what they were shopping for because we had no marketing whatsoever. So it took us until basically the last 2 days to get them to agree to let us move this brand. But that was after they had already set the shelving and set the pushers and feeders for the brand that we didn't want there. So we had to reset everything. We had to move things around, and that happened a lot. And then on top of that, there was a lot of adjusting and moving of brands anyway, because once you put the shit on the shelf how they want it, you find that things don't fit, or that it didn't make sense, or this brand maybe needed a little bit more room, or there couldn't fill up as much room. So there was just a lot of like moving and shifting, which that part didn't bother me so much because I'm a problem solver. So when we start something like that, right? And then I'm like, okay, this is what it looks like, but this isn't going to work. And then I bring my manager in on it and I'm like, hey, hello, like this is what we're doing. What are your thoughts? I feel like this should happen here. There was a lot of her and I going back and forth with each other about what needed to happen, what didn't need to happen. And for the most part, we were on the same page. But I think sort of like you, it got to a point where I was asking so many questions because this is a big fucking deal. And we do have like major corporate eyes on us because of this relocation, because they're doing things with our store that they haven't done with any other store. So it does have to look 95% how they wanted it to look, right? Like we are still a corporation. We have some wiggle room, but like we still have to follow the fucking rules that they want us to follow, whether they make sense to us or they don't. So I was asking a lot of clarifying questions to make sure that it was exactly what corporate wanted, plus it was what she wanted. And at one point, it sort of came to a head because there was like at the very end of the thing we're trying to work through all this thing. And I'm sorry, let me back up. On top of like everything that goes into like moving all of that product from one store to the other, we have all these other teams involved, and the teams we had working with us were fucking amazing. Like we really had a great fucking team, and had we not had a great team, I don't think we would have been where we are. Especially the team that packed the old store and brought everything over. But that's a lot of shit. Like it was a small store, but it's a lot of shit like crammed in a small store. So we had our back receiving area full of stuff, right? And they had dropped a truck on us like not even a week before we moved. It was not a very big truck, but still. So we had shit they packed up. We had shit from a shipment before that. And then they dropped another shipment on us the Monday the 8th, I believe, whatever day Monday was of this week, or the week, yeah, whatever Monday was.
Yeah.
And then they dropped another shipment on us again Wednesday that was much bigger. So we had 2.5 shipments worth of stuff crammed in the back room, plus all the shit that they brought over from the other store packed in all these boxes. And we couldn't hardly tell what was what because there was just no room to get to it. We're all exhausted. We're all tired. I put in, most of my days were at least 10 hours, but a lot of them were more like 12 to 14 hour days doing this. And we're all exhausted. And I was trying to tell her something about what these one set of boxes were. And this other girl that works with us sort of was like chiming in, and she was like siding with my boss. And I'm like, no, you're not listening to me. Like I understand that the label on this box matches the first shipment we got before we ever moved anything. But what I'm telling you is we broke all those boxes down and left them on a shelf. And these are boxes that the boys packed up and brought over here. Look at the side of the box. That's what says is in it. This is not shipment. This is old stuff. And like the girl who was like, she was like, no, I know it. And I'm like, okay. I open up the box. I take it out. And I said, look, it has a clearance sticker on it. They wouldn't send us anything new with a clearance sticker on it because we have to put the clearance stickers on them. This is what they are. And I was like, I know that sometimes I talk out of my ass, but I'm right every once in a while. Like, you guys really are loving to argue with me right now. And I set the shit down and I fucking walked out. Because I was at that point, I was done. I was tired of being fucking argued with. Like, sometimes I'm right. Every once in a while, I'm fucking right. Okay?
Even a blind squirrel finds a nut every once in a while.
Correct. And I was like, you know how that tism thing where you're like, no, I know what the fuck I'm talking about this time. Stop fucking arguing with me. And it like makes you more angry than normal because you know you're right.
It makes you extra stubborn.
Yeah, it makes you extra stubborn and you know you're fucking right. And like, I'm sorry, but I'm not backing down off of this because I know what the fuck is in that box. And you are fucking going to, we need to know what's in what. And you are trying to figure shit out. And if I let you think that what's in this box is the wrong thing, then we are set back again. And I'm trying to let you know, unfortunately, I'm not trying to argue with you, but you're fucking wrong. Like, I have to tell you the information, right? So like, I'm not doing it to be a smartass. I'm not doing it to be right. I'm doing it because you're searching for information and I have the correct information and you're not listening to me. So
right.
Like, I'm trying to make sure you're not getting steered in the wrong direction here. And it led to like a little bit of a blow up. And I started crying because I was so fucking frustrated. I'm like, I'm just so tired of being argued with. Like, there was every time I mentioned something and it seemed like everyone was getting irritated with me because I was trying to ask so many questions and I was asking clarifying questions and I was bringing up, well, what if, is it possible to do this? Or can we do it this way? Or should we try this? Or can we try this? Or whatever. It's like, and I probably was being kind of forceful and kind of, I'm sure the mask dropped many times, but I also made a point during this before we ever started to let all of them know separately, like, hey, I understand that I've never experienced this whole situation before, but I do know that it's very stressful and that there's going to be a lot of moving parts. So I'm telling all of you now that if there's an issue with me this week and I've said something that's upset you or I've come off as bossy or bitchy or whatever, please make sure you take the time to address that with me because I'm not going to be able to keep the mask on all week. Like, I'm not going, like, the tone's going to drop, the facial expressions are going to drop, like, the mask is going to come off at some point because the more exhausted I am, the harder it is to keep the mask up. So I'm going to probably sound way worse and look way worse to you when I'm speaking than I'm intending to. So I'm just warning you all now, right? I'm giving you the disclaimer that the mask is going to come off at some point, and I don't mean it how it sounds most of the time. Okay. So I warned them all. And it was yesterday, I think. Yeah, yesterday. I finally said, like, after the blow up, I finally said, I don't really want to call it a blow up. It wasn't really a blow up, but I was just sort of done pretending like I wasn't frustrated with the fact that I kept getting challenged on things that I knew were correct. And finally, I just sort of said to everybody, I was like, look, I need you all to understand something about me in this moment. Like, I know that this is been stressful for everybody. I was like, but I don't think any of you understand how many days I have gone home, either melted down or shut down completely, or not even been so tired I haven't been able to process everything that's going on with me and how many times I'm getting activated in a day. And it all just sort of came out yesterday. And I was like, there's so many things that are going on here that are triggering and activating like the tism in me. And it's been a lot for my brain to compartmentalize and hold on to, even though this has been so fucking fun. Like, it really has been fun. It's been exciting. It's been fun. But and it's something I've wanted. We've wanted this for so long, and we're so excited about it, and it's beautiful in there now. It's stressful. This is a lot. Like, this is a lot of shit, and we had a very small amount of time to fucking get this done.
It's also like it's because it's like you have to move a store while also operating your current store. So it's not like you can close the store
No, we
and
did.
get
We
shit
did close
done.
the store.
Oh,
We
okay.
did. That's another thing, though. So we closed the store on Wednesday the 10th. We were closed. So we've been closed since the 10th. But we only had until today to have the store ready to be opened because we are opening tomorrow. And it's twice the square footage. Twice the square footage. And it's an entire extra room that needed to be presentable and ready to go. Not to mention, we had maybe half the team for our store that we should have had helping us because nobody wanted to fucking come help. And the few people that did come help were fucking amazing. Like I said, we had some fucking team players, okay? And these motherfuckers were the A team. They brought their
You mean like
fucking
from
game
corporate or from your store?
from
The team from a
corporate.
team from corporate? Okay.
Yeah, team from corporate and then teams from other stores. So usually how this works is there's several teams. There's usually some corporate folks that show up. There is a fixture team is what they're called. So like they contract this company out, but they really only work for Salon Centric most of the time. But it's a contract company, and they bring a team of guys, and they're the ones that break everything down at the old store, pack everything up, bring it all over there. They help us reset the new store with things and put all the pushers and feeders up and all of this shit, and anything that needs built or hung or whatever, they do it, right? So that team was the fucking A team. They were on their fucking shit. They played no games, and it was wonderful. And then the store team, the other stores teams that came, we had 2 store managers and another employee come from 2 different stores. So we had one of our stores in Peoria come help us, and then a store in Joliet come help us. So we had some teams other than us, but it was 3 people from other stores, me, my manager, and 1, 2, 3 other people. One of our team members who only ever works once a month couldn't be fucking bothered to come in and help. The other one's mother is sick, so she couldn't really be there very much. So we were really a lot of this was on Amy and I, which is my manager. We did a lot of the pre-work behind this. And then another girl that works for us also helped out quite a bit with that kind of stuff. But her and I have the most time in at this point. We currently have the most time in service in at this point. I think she's got a few more hours than I do in. But when I clocked out yesterday, I was at 70 hours and 55 minutes just for the one week. That doesn't include all the hours worked the week prior, because that was also just about as much. So like I would say in total between the 2 weeks, between starting the venture and ending it yesterday for me, there's at least 100 hours into this. So 100 hours in 2 weeks, which doesn't seem like a lot, but when most of those 100 hours were crammed into 1 week, you know what I mean? Like, what, 2/3 of those hours were crammed into that fucking week ish. It's a lot. So anyway, we're all exhausted, and I finally just told them, like, you guys have witnessed the worst in me because of everything that's going on. And I looked at my manager and I was like, I know that like you have seen a lot of what's gone on with me as like me challenging you or me questioning you. And I said, and I know to most people and probably to you, it seems like I don't trust you, or like I don't believe you, or like I don't think you know what you're doing. She's like, oh, it does. And I said, and I'm sorry for that. I was like, but I need you to know that more than ever, I am never thinking that of you. Like, I recognize that you absolutely know what you're doing. I was like, so much of my questioning is coming from the fact that I'm just desperately fucking trying to understand why. Like, I need a why.
But it's like if I don't know why, it's
right.
it's hard for me to get anything done.
Yeah, and there's been so many things that have like things that don't even like I can't even recall them all at this point, but like the whole brand not being where it made any sense for our store for it to be, and things not being sent to us that should have been sent to us long before we ever started this venture, and things not being double checked, and why we didn't have this person here and that person here, and like there should have been a lot more like backing and pre-prep and things that it went on behind the scenes before we ever started this part of the move, right? That just weren't done or overlooked or were delayed or whatever. I just hit my mic. So like so many things have changed and moved and have not made sense, and we've had to overcome things which we're used to, but like fuck, like I'm just trying to understand why so much of this shit just doesn't fucking make sense to me. The way that they want each brand to sit on the shelves didn't make sense for a lot of these brands. How much footage they gave us for some of these brands made no sense. Like it's easy
Like
for
it
someone behind a
seems.
desk to
Mhm.
sit and say you need to put this and this here, and this is how many feet it gets, and this is what it should look like. But then when you actually physically try to make that happen, there is it has to be moved around. But if it's moved around too much and someone comes here and sees the store and it's not per plano, then you're in trouble. So it's like you're up against these dueling factors that have to agree with each other at some point, but most of the time never do. And so there's been a lot of like, well, what's up to us and what's up to them, and sometimes it seems like it should be up to us, and the things that wouldn't should not matter, right? The things that should not matter way more than things that really should matter. And it's so confusing and frustrating to someone who's very like make it make sense
Well,
kind of brain. Do you know what I mean?
it's also like you think that a corporation, yes, I understand that you want stores to be kind of like uniform, but it's also like you have to go based on your demographic, based on your sales per store. It's kind of
Right.
like, say, Walmart, they were building a new store in Alaska. They're like,
Right.
well, the general, it's like we you have to have like this much space for beachwear, this much space
Right.
for winterwear. It's like, but we're fucking Alaska. We need to have like 90% of it be winter wear and like
Mhm.
10% of it we and then like but then going to Florida be like, okay, you have to have 50% beach wear, 50% winter wear. This is fucking Florida. It needs to be
Right.
90% beach wear and 10% winter wear.
So
So it's
this
like you.
this whole thing with the brand that I was talking about that should have been in shelving and not on a wall, this was like trying to make swimwear be the main staple at Walmart in Alaska.
Mhm.
That's basically the amount of no sense that it made to me. And it was so frustrating because I'm like, you should. So I don't know. My tism was so triggered. I'm like, you need to stop doing things that sound good on paper and ask your store teams what you should do instead. And if the store team is telling you that this doesn't make any fucking sense, then you need to listen, because we're the fuckers that are here every day. We're not just saying, oh, I don't like it because it doesn't look right. Like, we're giving you an actual fucking answer to a question as to why do you want to move it, because it makes no sense for us as a brand or as a store in our market to have this brand be highlighted when we have nothing to highlight it with. Like,
It's basically
don't do
it's
that.
experience feedback. It's experience feedback is what it
Correct.
is. It's like
It's
I'm
not for
not
our
I'm
fucking health. Like,
mhm.
we wouldn't be making all these fucking changes just for our fucking health or just because we feel like it. Like, there are so many things that made no sense. I'm so fucking tired of all of the shit that made no sense. And so I just had to finally explain to everyone, like, I don't get to pick and choose what I care about and what I don't. And when things viscerally bother me like this, it's very difficult for me to move on and let it go. And I need a why. In order for me to like drop it and move on, sometimes you have to give me a why. Even if the why is that corporate said so and we don't have any other control over it and you're going to have to get used to it because we can't change it, then that's better than saying, nope, we can't move it, or this is just how it has to be, or whatever. Tell me fucking why so that I can tell my brain to stop caring about this thing, right? And move on. Another thing that is so stupid, but it just is a thing for me. I don't like shelving to be crooked. I want it to be flat against things, or at least straight if it's not flat against something. And we have all these like extraneous shelves that we can highlight things on that kind of look like the ones behind me, you know, here, like this. They look a lot like that. And everyone in this world, in the retail world, wants these shelves right where you can fucking run into them, and they want them cockeyed and shit. And I'm like, you have to stop doing that because it viscerally bothers my goddamn brain. Do not put shit right in a walkway where someone can physically run into it, because I will. I will run into it, and I will knock it over, and I will have to pick it up all the goddamn time.
It also seems like very anti-wheelchair. If you have like all
Yeah.
these things, like you can't fit the wheelchair in it, then
Correct. And I'm telling you right now, even though it's technically 3 feet of space, Granger could not go around this one area that I'm telling you right now totally could be like that I hate so fucking much. I hate it with every ounce of my goddamn being. I hate it. And I had to explain that to her. She's like, you have to let this shit go, Nick. Like, you have to let it go. This is just how they want it, and this is how it's going to have to stay. And I'm like, you don't understand. There is no just let it go. Like, there is no just let it go. I don't
like
get
I'm not
to
fucking
choose.
Elsa. I'm not
Right.
fucking Elsa over here.
There is no Elsa in this situation. I don't get to choose what this thing tells me I'm mad about.
This thing is me. This thing is me.
Right.
Okay.
This is me. Like, I don't get to change it. I don't get to decide that I don't care. Like, sometimes I can't help it. I was like, this shit viscerally bothers me. It causes me physical when I look at it, and I can't help that. I have no fucking control over that. I was like, my mental health doesn't like, and on top of that, I was like, also, this is the worst time of fucking year for me, mental health wise. I can't help that it's disgusting outside, and it's cold, and it's dark all the goddamn time, and my brain fucking hates me when it's dark outside. So like, I'm battling all this crazy shit going on with all of the change and all of the things and all the tism activation, Wonder-tism powers activated to the nth degree at this point. Plus, it's the dark half of the year, and it's disgusting outside, and it's been snowy and rainy and gross the entire fucking time we have been doing this shit. So I'm battling the no sun. I'm battling the Wonder-tism powers being activated, and I'm just fucking physically exhausted. Never hurt in places in my body like I have hurt during this fucking week. Like, I didn't know that, like, the tops of your ankle, where you're, you know, like where you're fucking this bit of your ankle right here, I didn't know that could hurt unless you hurt it. Like, had an accident and hurt it. That can hurt from just walking, apparently. I am covered. Literally head to toe in bruises. I had a liter fall off the shelf directly, like, if you know what a liter bottle of something looks like, the lid of the liter bottle of shampoo fell so perfectly off the shelf and doinked me right across the bridge of the fucking nose. The lip, like the top of the lid, boom, right here across the bridge of the nose. There's like a little tiny red mark right here. It hit me perfectly. And you know when you get hit in the nose, you just want to immediately burst into fucking tears. Because
and you're like immediately think you broke it. It just immediately feels like you broke it. It feels
immediately like it's broken, like it's never going to go back to the same spot ever again. And it just everything just tingles and fucking hurts. So I got bopped in the fucking nose. I am covered in bruises all over the place. I have one on my leg that's this fucking long at the top of my leg. I could not even tell you how I earned half of these.
Probably ran into one of those crooked shelves.
I'm sure I did. And I also split, it was so fucking dry. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to flip you off. So fucking dry in there that I split my cuticle and it bled all over up and underneath my finger, like under my fingernail. So I have like blood staining under my fucking fingernail. I like notched my fucking knuckle skin off because I was carrying something around a corner, and we have those metal, like they put those metal corner covers on the drywall around the corners of where you go into the stockroom for obvious reasons. People like me who don't know where they're fucking at and run into the walls. But someone ran into it with something that was hard enough to divot the metal out. And I went around the corner and fucking my knuckle, like I slammed into the wall with my knuckles. So I not only like crushed my finger, but also caught that one tiny fucking spot in the metal that is notched out and sharp and soup can cut my fucking knuckle skin off. So, like, so many injuries, so many fucking injuries, so many bruises, so many, like under here hurts, like my under
Oh yeah,
my
from
armpits
lifting
hurt.
stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
lifting stuff.
all of that hurts. Like the sides of my hips hurt from all the squatting. Not like your glutes where they should hurt, or like the tops of your thighs, but like the fucking sides of my hips hurt. And I don't know. It's just I'm just so fucking exhausted. Like I've never experienced physical exhaustion like this, to the point to where even though I'm almost equally mentally exhausted, the physical exhaustion is worse. Like most of the time for me, the mental exhaustion has done me in before the physical ever would. This time, the physical is just absolutely, I'm just so goddamn tired physically. I looked at Jordan this morning and said, I think I'm going to cancel my massage. I don't think I can move. And he said, no, I know that you can't move, but like you need the massage. And I know it's like negative 3,000 degrees outside, but you only have to stay in the cold long enough to get to your car and then out of your car and then back to your car. And it's going to be okay. Like you need this massage. He had to physically come into the room, and between the I don't wanna from the mental part and the I literally can't from the physical part, he had to help me get out of the fucking bed. That is how absolutely tensed up and fucking sore every single cell in my body is right now from all of this shit. And what's funny is like I would say we're 89 to almost 95% done. There's still so much more to do in the store. We haven't even touched decor. We haven't touched, like, we have these pictures that we were supposed to hang that the frames never fucking came for. So there's no pictures on the walls. And we're opening tomorrow. Like, I'm just done. Like, I'm just
At
so
least
done.
decor can be done something like while the store is open. Like
Oh,
someone
for
can
sure.
just
A lot of it is, it's so much just semantics at this point, but we thought we were going to be like, this has
100%.
not gone. Our manager has done, this is her 11th relo or remodel that she has worked on. Because, like I said, like other store teams have to come in and help when these go on for us, for the company. And this is her 11th one. And she has never seen a relocation done like this with this little amount of help and this little amount of attention to the details, like the things like no decor, no anything like that. Um, I'm going to do a small interruption because my husband just said he needs to make an entrance, and he said he needs to put pants on. So I'm going to ask if I need to kill my fucking video if he is actually clothed or just needs long pants as opposed to shorts. Hold, please. So you talk about something while I mute myself.
Okay. Uh, so basically, it just sounds like your manager has experience with that sort of thing, but the other side of it kind of fucked everything up.
Pretty much, yeah. Sorry for the husband. I'll probably put something weird over this, like when I blow my nose, but the husband interruption, he's going to get me food, apparently, because I was like, I want a Jersey Mike's in the worst way. And he was like, let me put clothes on and go get you Jersey Mike's. Get you a husband like this. This is goals. Because I didn't even ask him for Jersey Mike's. I just said, I want Jersey Mike's in the worst way. And he's like, that means I have to put pants on and go buy her Jersey
Well,
Mike's.
if the wife wants this kind of food, I gotta go get this kind of food.
I swear to God, though, this man is a fucking saint. Like, I'm gonna give him some props for just a minute, because when I tell you, like, he already Mr. Mom's pretty fucking hard, as you know, like, he does a lot, but I have been non fucking existent in this house. I'm going to work before the kids wake up, and I'm coming home hours after they're asleep. Like, there were a couple of days in a row where I didn't even see my kids. So it he literally has done everything. And then he got sick the last 3 days. He's been trying to fight something. Um so he's finally feeling better, and he was still Mr. Momming because I still had to be at fucking work. So this man is like deserving of all the props. And now he's about to go brave. Hey, get off my food, or whatever the hell you're trying to eat over there. Thank you. Sorry, the dog was sniffing at something on my side table. I don't even know what's over there right now because I've been a very large trash panda lately. Yeah, you know what you did. Yeah. Yeah, you do. Come here. Come say hi to the people. You little shit. Let's say hi to Ella, everybody. Come here. Come here, baby.
Hi, Ella.
Come here. Come here. You want to come up? Oh, there's the
Hi.
poopy. Say
Hi,
hi,
Ella.
poopers. Oh, I don't know if your jacket's in there, dear. Hi, poopy. Careful, don't knock mommy's soda over. Hey, no, come on, don't do that. You're a good girl. Bye, Ellie. I love you. What are you doing? What you doing? Hi. Are you gonna go with Daddy or are you gonna stay with Mom?
Oh, hell no, she's not coming with me.
Oh, she's not going with you? Okay.
Heck no. She tries to freaking take over the wheel.
Oh, yeah, you try to drive when Daddy's in the car. You sit pretty for Mom in the car.
Yeah, she does.
Sorry, pupper's interruption. I don't think anyone minds a pupper's interruption. Um, but yeah, anyway, I'm just done. Like I'm just exhausted. I really also feel like when I have weeks like this, it's really difficult for me to recover because I don't have time each day to sort of process like I would normally, because normally when I come home from even a longer work day, like I've done 10-hour days before, I've done 12-hour days before, just not this many consecutively in a fucking row, right? But I'm the type of person that like I need time to unwind after my day, and so that I can sort of process what's gone on in the day. Usually that's my shower time, is I'll take a little extra long shower and sort of like run through the day's events in my head while I'm in the shower. And for me, it helps. Visualizations help a lot for me, helped a lot during therapy and during trauma processing. So I just sort of apply it to lots of things now. But I'll stand in the shower and I'll let the water run over me and I'll just sort of visualize all of the ick of the day sort of washing down the drain while I sort of process out what's gone on for the day at the same time, and rerun situations in my head and add things to the list of scripts that I keep, and like my mental scripts for like, okay, when this happens again next time, this is what I can say if I didn't feel like I said it right. And I just sort of process my day. And then I'll usually, if I'm feeling like playing one of my games, I'll come play my game, or I'll at least eat and then sit and watch show with Jordan. I had no time to do any of that. I had enough time to take a whore bath half the time, where I either quickly jump in the shower, rub some soap on my pits and the parts that matter, and then jump the fuck out. Or, you know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
that there was no wind down. There was no nothing. I was leaving work. One night we left at like 9 o'clock and had to be back at work at 6. So like I'm showing up less than 12 hours after leaving back at work, consecutive days in a row. And it's like, while I can work like that, and I did work like that, and I didn't care to because I was so excited and happy about what we were doing, it still fucking took a toll on me because I'm a human and no one can operate like that for extended, like a long time. And like, I don't know, maybe there are people, but like I don't operate like that for extended periods of time without some sort of consequence. And of course, my goals for the year were fucking thrown out the window. I don't even know why I thought I could start this before this fucking remodel, because I wasn't able to pack my lunches every day like I wanted to. I was literally eating breakfast every morning from the drive-through, lunch every morning from wherever the company paid for, or lunch every day from wherever the company paid for, sometimes dinner through the drive-through at night. Like I was eating fast food like almost every single day in some capacity. And
Well, it's
so
extraneous circumstances, so
exactly. So it was kind of silly for me to like have started super, and I knew I wasn't going to get through this week without being able to stick to it. Like I did my best, I tried, but it didn't work out. So I sort of gave up on that, and like I haven't done any exercising whatsoever, but like I've literally been running around and lifting shit for 2 weeks, so I figured that counted. So had I not been eating so many Star Crunches, I might have lost some weight this week. There was so much snacking happening, because it was giving me the will to keep going. But I feel like the point I'm trying to drive home here, because it's a lot of talking and I want to try to get to the point, is like I had to figure out how to explain to the people around me that my question asking and my communication was going to be different, and it was going to be even more highlighted and even more visible that it's different because of the circumstance that I'm in. So when we're in these high stress circumstances or these things where we're under pressure and we have a lot of tasks to accomplish, my mask and add tired to it, right? The mask is going to fall off and my communication is going to drop off, and I'm not going to be saying things how you want me to say them, and I'm not going to be able to be more socially appropriate. I'm going to struggle with understanding things. I'm going to have more questions. I'm going to be more what might seem to people as argumentative, right? I'm going to look like I'm challenging you and I probably am sometimes challenging you, like in the instance of the whole knowing what was in those boxes thing. Like, I'm going to challenge you and I'm going to stick to my fucking guns on it because we have to know what's here. And if you think it's the wrong thing, then we're not set up for success here. And the whole point is to set us up for success. So I'm going to argue with you about this because I fucking know I'm right in this one circumstance. I know I'm correct. You know what I mean? So I have to.
I will fight you tooth and nail on this one part.
I literally will fight you tooth and nail on this hill, and I will die here because I know that I am fucking right. Very few times. And I did say too, like when I think I'm right and then I'm wrong, I will apologize and say, you know what, you're right. I'm sorry, I was wrong. But when I'm fucking right, when I know I'm goddamn right for a fucking fact, you all can die with me on the fucking hill because I will stand here and argue with you until we're all dead. You know what I mean? Like, I don't care. But that kind of shit gets worse when I'm put in these situations like this. And I don't want to say, I don't know, worse is not the best word to describe it either. More prevalent, more visible. It becomes more visible and more apparent just how autistic I am when you get in these situations like this. And it did teach
when you basically
me a lot.
It's something out of routine and it's a high stress situation.
Correct. So, millions of things are changing. So many things aren't getting done how they should be getting done, whether that's by the people working on them or corporate not understanding or whatever. Physical labor, physical exhaustion, mental exhaustion, frustration on so many levels. Just some shit I'm not going to get into on here, but I'll explain to you later. Lots of the bar is moving a lot because each day brings new challenges in which we have to change our plan, right? Just so many things. It was the perfect storm to end up getting involuntarily unmasked. Do you know what I mean? Like, it just dropped and it was not cute. But I do feel like at this point that my coworkers know well enough that, and if some of them don't, I mean, I don't know how else to be more clear, but the main person I was, yeah, like I couldn't learn today. Like the main person I didn't want to be frustrated with me was my manager, because as much as I love everybody there, and I truly do, like I care about every person that works there, because I can't get frustrated and irritated about you if I don't give a shit. But, so even when I was frustrated with certain people, it was out of the fact that I care about what we're doing, and I care about them. But I just didn't want her to feel like I was trying to challenge her at every fucking turn when there was enough challenges we were facing and trying to be a team at the same time, right? So I didn't want our divide. I didn't want a divide created between us. So I wanted to make sure that she was understanding where I was coming from, why I was doing what I was doing, why I was behaving the way I was behaving, and try my best to communicate that to her as best as I could with everything that was going on, because I wanted to make sure that she knew that I wasn't just being difficult and I wasn't just being challenging and I wasn't trying to be argumentative. I'm desperately trying to figure out why and make justifications for things so that I can let it go. Not because I feel like the world owes me an explanation, but because I have to know why so that I can let it go. Like, I don't get to choose this. It's not a fucking choice. And she's like, well, that's why, I get it. I get at a place and I can just say, fuck this, and I'm done. And I just let it go. And I was like, That's great. And I'm so happy you have that function. But whatever function you have in your brain that allows you to pick and choose what you care about and what you don't, I don't have that function. I was like, that's what everyone doesn't understand. And what I'm desperately trying to explain here is I don't get to choose what I fixate on and what bothers me to the point that I can't let it go and what does. And if I hit the fuck it point, I don't get to choose what I say fuck it about and what I don't. I hit the fuck it point and it's fuck everyone and all of you and all of this. And I was like, I don't have a choice. I don't get to choose to turn my emotionality off on certain things and then have emotionality on other things. There is no fucking divide. And I don't think that's spoken about enough. Like, there's no, like, I don't have a checklist that says, we're going to care about this today and we're not going to care about this today. And I don't get to pick and choose what I turn my emotions off about. If my emotions are off and my give a fuck is on, and my give a fuck is off, it's off. Blanket statement across the entire fucking board. It's off for this show. It's off for you. It's off for the job. It's off for the fucking kids. It's off for the husband. It's fuck everything and all of you and everything all at once. And I don't ever want to shut it all off. So I would rather be obnoxious in your view by unmasking and having my little meltdown or crying like I was when I was trying to explain this or whatever. I would rather let the emotions come out, and whether they're understood or they're not, or they're good or they're bad, right? I would rather let them come out and be what they are than shut everything down and turn into a fucking monster. Because I remember what that girl was like, and I don't want to return to her. Like, I worked really hard to not be her anymore, and I don't want to go back there. And like, I don't have a fucking choice. And I think we ended that conversation with a lot more understanding of not only each other, but I think she understood me a little bit more, because she's like, I'm sorry that is what your brain is like. I was like, I thank you. Cause like, I'm so serious. Like, I don't get to choose this. This is just what it is for me. And if I could choose it, I wouldn't choose this, right? Like, this wouldn't be a fucking choice for me. I wouldn't choose to be viscerally, physically bothered by things that really shouldn't matter in the grand scheme of life. Think about how absolutely fucking debilitating it is to be bothered by the fact that a shelf is twisted to the side instead of straight on. Hold on, I have a child interruption. What is it, Stinky? You want tucked in? Yeah. Okay, I'll be right there. Give me just a minute. We're going to wrap up the show and I'll be right there, okay? I think this is a good place to stop, though, because I'm kind of just repeating myself at this point. But if anyone else sort of struggles with this situation where they are either involuntarily unmasked by a situation they're in, or are struggling to have people understand their level of questioning, just know that, like, you're not alone. It's difficult to be in these kind of situations and these stressful situations and be an autistic person, because it's so many things we're fighting so many things just to get through the situation, let alone try to stay socially acceptable while we fucking do so. So I don't know. That was my fucking week and my situation. If I ever had a doubt that I have the tism, that doubt has been erased after this fucking week. Amanda, thoughts and things before we wrap up with the Jeremy thing, and I go and start the Jeremy thing, I should say. I'm gonna go tuck in my child before we start Jeremy, but
yeah, basically, because we are planning on moving our office, I think, in March.
yeah.
So granted, I don't know how it's gonna work, because it's like we can't close.
Right.
But granted, we can be closed on Sunday, so it's like, okay, I'm assuming we're gonna be moving all this stuff. They haven't told us what the plan is, really.
Yeah.
But I'm assuming we're moving like all the extraneous stuff to the new building, and everything but like our desks and computers. And then because I told him, like, well, I'm assuming someone will have to come in either after hours or on Sunday or after we close on Saturday, which we close at 1. So I'm assuming like that's when we'll move all the computers and everything and get everything set up, because it's like,
Right.
I don't know how else it's gonna work.
Yeah.
So, and I, like I said, I think I've mentioned this before, but when I found out that I don't have my own office, I got upset. I basically have a cubicle where I have to listen to someone on speakerphone the entire time, and I can't close my door when I'm annoyed. And
Oh no.
so I'm gonna be a lot more burnt out in that aspect, that I can't be in my own little space. I have to share it with other people, and I'm just so when we had a chance on Tuesday to come after hours to come see the office, like they were giving like letting people see it and everything, and a lot of people went and they're like, "Are you gonna go?" I said no, and then after this, one of my coworkers was like, "Did you know you don't have your own office? You're sitting like these cubicles like with these other people." I go, "No, I'm perfectly aware. That's partially why I didn't want to go. Because I don't want to see." And the cubicles are short cubicles. Like you can see over the cubicles when you're sitting down, and I'm like,
With the
so
kind
what's the
of
point of the
work you
cubicle?
have to do, that doesn't make any sense. You
I
do
know,
need your own space.
and I told him, I said, so I have to have like sensitive conversations. Like I talk to other credit unions
Right.
about sensitive information, and I could potentially be talking about an employee. Like an
Right.
employee does something bad, I know about it.
Right.
Like I have to file about it. So what am I going to do? Like
Right.
I
You
can't
have that conversation in a cubicle next to a bunch of people who aren't legally allowed to hear that information. So
I know. So I'm like, and I told him, I said, if I find out that someone else got an office that currently does not have an office, and I, in my opinion, doesn't need an office, I will be quite upset.
yeah.
So, yep. And so that's, and I like the whole moving stores. Like we've had to when I worked at Barnes and Noble, we've had to reset stores. And I, like you, I like that sort of thing. Like when we did inventory, we'd be there until like 3, 4, 5 in the
Yeah.
morning. Cause like we would come in, like, you know, right before, like an hour or two before the store closed, and then we would do inventory, and we had an inventory like company that came in and
Yeah.
did inventory, and we would just be there to help them along. But then like there'd be entire like when we'd be switching entire sections around and moving shelves, and like I always volunteered. I'm like, I'll do it. I'll help. So it's exhausting though, but it's like you said, it's fun. It's fun in a weird way, but exhausting. It's kind of hard to explain.
Yeah, it is. And that's why the feelings are all very confusing, and that doesn't help either, because you're so fucking excited and so you're enjoying yourself so much, but at the same time there's all of these other things you're fighting, all of the negative shit of like, I don't get it, I don't understand, and I'm fucking tired, and da 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 da. So, and there's, like I said, there's more to the story that added to my frustration that I don't want to get into on the show, but which I'll fill you in on. But I am going to let's wrap it up here for the folks who are going to leave before Jeremy. We're going to hit pause on this recording so that it can stay in the same file, because that's really annoying when it's not. And I'm going to go tuck in my kid, and then we'll hit Jeremy. But for y'all, it's going to be a transition. If you're going to stick along, it's going to be a transition. Our coolest ever fucking animation. I love it so much. I'm very proud of it still. And you get to watch that cool ass animation, and then you'll be rolling
and hear music
and the music. Yeah. But if you are leaving us, please remember to like, subscribe, comment, all the things. Smash that like button, hit that bell icon on YouTube. Please go to the Facebook page. If you hate us, if you love us, we're open for information, for guests. If you want to be on the show, you can reach out on any of those platforms, but preferably Facebook message or Instagram message or an email is the easiest way to get a hold of us on that. Commenting with things like that can kind of get lost in the shuffle. So if you want to be on the show, you can reach out to us, Instagram, Facebook, or email. All of those things are linked in the show notes. Our email is the ndcpodcast@gmail.com. I am not great at checking that, but I will get better at it. All the socials are at the NDC podcast. Everywhere socials are platformed, you can find us there. All the links are also in the show notes for that. The Discord is in the show notes. Come join us there. Come chat with us there. We're gonna maybe talk about some things I would like to talk to you about, like maybe doing like some live gaming at some point. Maybe you can come game with us. We can, if that's a thing some people want to do, let us know that you'd want to hang out and game with us. We can choose whatever games. I don't know what games you can game together on, but we can figure it out. Amanda's a gamer. We can figure it out. Yeah, so come hang out with us over there. And if you are not sticking around for Jeremy, we love you. Goodbye. And we will see you next week. And if you're sticking around for Jeremy, Here's Jeremy. Welcome back.
It's good to be back.
It's good to be back. If you stuck around, hi. We're so happy you're here. My child has been tucked in. My cup has been refilled. I'm still waiting on Jersey Mike's, but to be fair,
my Oreos have been eaten.
Yeah, Amanda had some Oreos. We've both gone potty. So we are ready. We're ready for Jeremy. Ready for the Chronicles of Jeremy. Aminder, hit him. Hit him with it.
Okay, let's go. So the sentence given: after choosing a path in the woods, Jeremy the second cat and Finnegan the fainting goat were well on their way. Having left Binky the hardy and Sympathy the unicorn, they used their map and Jeremy's magical markers to find a cat before he drinks too much and goes blind. Armed with this knowledge, they set upon their quest to the mountain cave, following the signs in the woods. Okay. The mysterious cave, however, they knew was probably too dangerous to enter. Not only would it undoubtedly lead to the cat, but they were led to believe it might be the home of an angry jaguar. The pair then set off across the main cave's chamber. Having got halfway, Sympathy the unicorn appeared from the ceiling and landed headfirst in the water. Though she survived, she was a tad bruised up.
Hold on. I'm gonna have you pause right there.
Okay.
Oh no! Just that visual. Just I don't know what. Probably
As like it neighs as it falls down. It's neighing as it falls down.
Just, and she's a fucking unicorn, and she fell head first into the water. Oh no, her horn. Oh god.
And so this is like the AI.
The visual.
After this, the AI started to get really dark, so I had to like keep deleting it. I'm like, stop getting so morbid.
It starts with fucking Sympathy breaking her fucking neck by landing in head first in the water after apparating from the fucking ceiling. Okay. Start from head first into the water.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Having got halfway, Sympathy the unicorn appeared from the ceiling and landed head first in the water. Though she survived, she was a tad bruised up. After learning of Sympathy's plight, Jeremy asked, "How can you possibly be here? Finnegan and I just left you and Binky back in town." Sympathy ignored Jeremy's question, and Jeremy's magnetic persuasion powers wore off, making her not believe him anymore. After promising Jeremy not to look in the water, she refused to go any further. At this point, Jeremy the second cat was totally fed up and declared, "Okay, come on, you floozy, let's just go." And
Jesus Christ! Oh no!
This AI really wanted to do Sympathy in, because originally it was involved Jeremy drowning Sympathy and her body floating in and out of the water. So I had to like delete that part. So they really hate Sympathy in this portion.
Oh shit! Poor Sympathy. Okay.
Okay. At this point, Jeremy the second cat was totally fed up and declared, "Okay, come on, you floozy, let's just go," and made his way further into the cave. Using his magical markers, Jeremy would have had to carry Sympathy out of the water to get them there. As Jeremy explored the cave further, he found several signs that made him think that there might be a way to find the cat if he didn't let go of his magical markers. Unfortunately, he was on a time constraint. If he didn't return back to town soon enough for them to make the 4:45 p.m. bus, then they would all miss it and have to take the 5:15 p.m. bus instead. So, it got even more wild than that. I had to edit it a little bit. So Jeremy the second cat gave Sympathy back her magic marker and prepared to take a quick glance into the water and then return home to his family, who still hadn't seen him in 2 days. And then he found it. Instead of a cat at the bottom of the hole, Jeremy found the heart of an amazing creature, a wounded great white shark. He tried to call out to it, but he was terrified. All he could think of was getting back to the safety of his family. Jeremy ran. He ran like a fat cat on a rainy day.
And I ran so far away.
Oh, God. Uh,
He just ran. He ran all night and day. He got a kill. I can't. He ran like a fat cat in the rain. I cannot with this shit. Oh, this is a good one.
It was easy, to be honest. He could outrun a bull mastiff with a small bone in its mouth and a pair of leopard print 3-point go-go boots on his feet.
What the fuck is going on?
I think the AI, was high.
I think
this
it had
one.
a small. I think it might have been on an acid trip.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, God.
Okay. Running into the darkness of the cave, leaving Sympathy and Finnegan behind, he started to see some light. The darkness gave way to torches on the walls, leading towards a quaint little cottage. It was surrounded by trees and had a waterfall behind it, almost as if it wasn't in a cave at all, but rather a clearing in the woods. How strange, Jeremy thought. What could have caused it to look so normal? But then the chirping of birds echoed into the air, momentarily overshadowing the sound of the waterfall. The birds were talking! Coming to the edge of the clearing, Jeremy the second cat saw a small cottage with a small wooden sign out front reading Grace Brook Cottage in bright red letters. Was this where the cat mentioned on the map was leading to? Sure enough, there on the porch of the cottage was a cat, sitting in a rocking chair. Its tail was pointing to the left, and it was making a tiny noise, like it was calling someone's name. Jeremy approached the porch, and as it did, the cat lowered its tail a bit to make way for the psychic to climb up on the porch. You shouldn't have found her, the cat said in a tiny voice. Dashing inside, Jeremy the second cat asked the cat if it had a name. She couldn't remember, so he just called her Velvet. Velvet told Jeremy the cat that the cat he was looking for was called the Owner. After she explained that the owner was a great white shark, apparently it's not a cat anymore, it's a great white shark, Jeremy realized that it was the shark he had passed. We're both stuck in this damn cave, Jeremy told Velvet, and we both have a name, so why don't we make a deal? Velvet looked up at Jeremy with big, sad, bloodshot eyes. She seemed to understand the deal immediately, nodding her head slowly. Velvet said that she would do anything in exchange for his help, but her first request was that he let her out of the cave. With a nod, Jeremy admitted that he was not someone who took lightly to anything that was going to risk his friends and his own safety. He took her out of the cave. That's it. The next morning, the gang was awakened by the sound of their cell phone. Finnegan rolled out of bed and went to answer it. Hey, it's me. It was Deke, the space adventure boy. You forgot to call us back yesterday.
I can't. Deke, space adventure boy?
The space adventure boy.
Oh, God.
Mm-hmm.
Why Deke? That's from Hogwarts Legacy. This AI is learning. It's learning.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It's listening, and I don't like it.
I'm so sorry. I just got in from our trip, said Jeremy. It was awesome. Velvet could tell he wasn't in the best of moods, even though he literally just said it was awesome, but okay. She felt sorry for him, even though he had caused her so much trouble. The cave was pretty rough, she said to Finnegan. It was as if the owner was angry at us for leaving her there. Finnegan rolled his eyes, but he had sympathy for the second cat. So did his other friends. What did you have to do to get her out? Asked Finnegan. Excuse me. Velvet told him the story of how she and the owner had started their great adventure together. Finnegan perked up immediately when she mentioned that the owner wanted to get back home, so much so that she had to tell him everything about her previous adventures. Finnegan told them how he had managed to get into the owner's cave in the past, and then the gang had to explain to Finnegan what had happened the night before and how Jeremy had helped Velvet and the owner escape. I'm guessing the great white shark, okay. It's all a big adventure, huh? Said Finnegan. I can't wait to go back. Jeremy the second cat was very happy that his friends were all okay, but all the same, he was missing something very important. The cave was such a great place for spying, but he had no way to learn about what happened. Why does the owner have a cat? Asked Finnegan. Velvet the cat heard her name spoken and sat up. Are you asking me a question? She said. I'm too tired to answer. Yeah, hey, I'm pretty sure I am.
Me too, Velvet. Me too.
I'm too tired to answer. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I am, said Finnegan. When did you start talking? Asked Finnegan. I only just met you. You are the girl who used to live in our dreams, and now you're talking to me. Why do you have a cat?
Oh my god.
I told you. That's why I told you to call us back yesterday. I thought you remember by now. Finnegan walked over to the cat. I remember now, he said. I've seen this cat in my dreams before. Velvet began to realize that this cat did exist. It was Finnegan, the spaceship adventure boy. Amy was asking if she had a cat. That's
Oh.
me, she said. The cat who used to live in your dreams. But I'm fine now. I just wanted to get out of the cave. I thought you would want to know that. Finnegan looked up at Jeremy, the second cat. I'm sorry I didn't believe you, dude, he said. You wouldn't believe me if I said I was fine, said the second cat. But it's too late now. We've been in the cave for too long. Finnegan looked very sad. Jeremy was a bit confused. But she said, you were fine, said the second cat. Don't you remember me? Or the cave? I'll never forget, I promise, said Finnegan. Just leave me alone. Jeremy the second cat felt like it was something was very wrong. It's all right, dude, he said. Let's go home. We're gonna get you home. To be continued.
I feel like that one's gonna have to go in the dream category again.
Yep.
That was a lot. That was a lot of things. I feel like what this should be is that when Sympathy fell from the sky, when she apparated from the sky while they were in the cave, this is her recovery dream. So
Mhm.
we need, this is like
She
what
just
was
woke up from a
dreaming.
coma. This is like her
Right.
coma dream.
This was her coma dream.
We're retconning it, sorry.
Yeah. And so excuse me. So we're gonna have to for next week's episode, we're gonna have to like help the AI reconstruct the
The cave.
actual story of
Mhm.
what happened after Sympathy fell and broke her goddamn neck. So like so that's her coma dream for sure. For sure, for sure. Um that was it was a lot. I don't know that I have anything else to say other than that was a lot. My brain hurts a little bit. It was funny though. That was funny as fuck. It really was.
Like I said, I had to keep steering the AI because he tried to drown Sympathy. After the bus part, after talking about the bus, it talked about a family of bunnies that also need to make the bus. And like I'm like, no, stop. And so I had to like reroute it. I'm like, no, remember, you're looking for the fucking cat because the map told you to. You gotta find the fucking cat. Stop talking about these bunnies and drowning Sympathy. And oh my god. And so I had to keep like, stay on task.
Oh my god, I can't. That's funny. Oh, okay. I think that's yawn number 4 officially. It's now 8:35 and they're going to start coming more periodically if we don't wrap this shit up. So that was the Chronicles of Jeremy. I do really love Velvet though. I feel like maybe Velvet can reappear in the canon at some point.
Like and like Sympathy be like, I saw you in my dream, like in my coma dream, and
I
like,
just think of the song Black Velvet.
Mm-hmm. She
When
could be
I
a
think
black
of
cat
her,
named
she could
Velvet.
be a black cat. Yeah, I was gonna say she could be a black cat, and she could be Black Velvet. Maybe she can be some like mysterious, like chaotic neutral character where we don't know if she's good or she's bad. She sort of does what suits her. So, and maybe her and Jeremy can fall in love. And Sympathy can be jealous, even though she's a
unicorn.
Unicorn. Which I mean, whatever. It didn't stop.
And poor Binky, he got shafted in this one. He wasn't in there at all.
Binky was just.
I tried to make like anytime that I had mentioned a Binky, it's because I added it. Like I had to like, what about Binky? And it's like, no, fuck Binky.
Fuck Binky. Okay, yeah, I like it. We're gonna add Velvet the cat at some point. We'll give it time, and then I can add her to the intro as well once we figure out where she fits back in the canon. But I like it. I like when AI gives us new characters because it gives the storyline more depth. So I picture Velvet like the main character girl in The Witcher.
Yeah, Yennefer.
Yeah, like Yennefer from The Witcher.
Purple eyes. Yeah, purple eyes.
Yeah. I like it. Okay. All right, guys. That's it. We're done. We have nothing left for you. Just like I have nothing left in my body. I'm just done. But I love you, lady,
Mm-hmm.
and I love you guys. And thanks for not disappearing on us. If you haven't disappeared, if you have not yeeted us from your life over last week's episode, thank you for that. We appreciate you. Other than that, I'm brain cells leaking out of fucking ears. So Amanda, say something. Take us away.
Something. So hopefully everyone enjoys, and next time I think we're just gonna kind of continue this kind of train of thought, and maybe like include the burnout aspect of that sort of thing. We kind of briefly touched upon it, but we can move on to the burnout. But that's all we have for you today. So, like she said, thank you for joining us, and we hope to see you next time.
Okay. We love you. Bye.
Okay, bye.
Where's the fucking I hate that all my buttons go away. Thumbnail, real quick.
Mm-hmm. With Ella right there.
Sleep time. Night night.
Mm-hmm. Yes.